These are the two most important observations you can make to find your art style for once and for all. Observation number 1. On the left side we see Yin and Yang by John Le Carre. And on the right side we see Him by Damien Hirst. Now these artworks look very similar to one another. Second observation. This is the best observation that I could find, the best example to explain to you how you should find your art style I've ever seen in my life. On the left side we see spot paintings by Thomas Downing, and on the right side we see spot paintings by Damien Hirst. Damien Hirst painted these spot paintings long after Thomas Downing painted the spot paintings. They are approximately the same. So what are we seeing here? We are seeing Hijack Hirst at work. We are seeing Hijack Hirst with a painting method he developed called stealth stealing. These are spot paintings that are almost identical. You cannot spot the difference. These are swindled spot paintings. Stolen spot shady business strategies from Hijack Hirst. That's what we are seeing. Now, am I saying that you should be stealing like Damien Hirst in order to find your art style? That you should just simply steal an art style from another artist? That is not what I'm saying at all. Plagiarism is not an art style, but there is something peculiar here, because circles, like the one we see with Damien Hirst, they have been invented a very long time ago. As a matter of fact, circles date back to prehistoric times. Before we have writing, we had circles because people were observing the sun pattern in the sky, a circular movement, as well as the sun itself being circular. And so circles have been around for a very long time. And so why is it that we already knew about circles? That Thales used circles in his geometry 750 BC. And nobody called circles an art style. Not even during Thomas Downing's time. Thomas Downing, it was not an art style. Nobody called it an art style. And then suddenly Damien Hirst comes along and spot paintings become an art style. Circles, for God's sake. Suddenly, out of nowhere, become an art style. What is it that Damien Hirst did that turned a circle into an art style that Thomas Downing didn't do, or Thales didn't do, or any of these people? When Thomas Downing made spot paintings, he told the world that spot paintings is an art style. And nobody believed him. Nobody thought it was an art style. When Damien Hirst came along and made the exact same artwork, he said to the world, spot paintings are an art style. And everybody believed him. Everybody believed Damien Hirst. And suddenly they thought that spot paintings were an art style. Why? Because Damien Hirst was more convincing than Thomas Downing. Because Damien Hirst, his communication skills were better than Thomas Downing's communication skills. Because Damien Hirst was a better marketer than Thomas Downing. And that is why we pay way more money for Damien Hirst than we pay for Thomas Downing. And so, what does all of this mean? It means that you develop your art style through communication skills. Art styles are created with words. This is something that artists don't want to admit to you, but an art style is not developed on the canvas. It is not developed on the paper. It is developed in the hallways of the museum. It is developed in the videos that are being created. It is developed in the magazines. It is developed by communication skills. If you improve your communication skills, you can turn anything that you want into an art style. If you improve your communication skills, you can take circles and turn them into an art style. If you improve your communication skills, you can turn a blue period into an art style. You can turn a square, a black square, into an art style. If you are really good at communication, you can even take a wheel, put it on a bar stool, and tell the world that it is an art style. You can go as far as to take a Brillo box, literally a Brillo box, the same thing, or a tomato can, and convince the world that it is an art style because of your communication skills, not because it is an art style. There's nothing art stylish about a tomato soup can. Now, this is a very powerful realization. The moment you realize this, you are free. You are set free. The moment you realize this, you suddenly realize that your art skill is already good enough. You suddenly realize that you don't have to improve your art skill. You don't have to create better art for social media. You don't have to fit the Instagram art style dilemma and copy paste what works on Instagram. You don't have to do any of that. You just have to improve your communication skills so that you can convince everyone in the world that whatever you make is amazing. And so you are set free from all of the chains that you put on yourself. You don't have to make art every single day anymore. You don't have to finish the paintings anymore. You don't have to improve your realism skill. I can't draw realistically, and that's why I don't have an art style. It's all bullshit. You already have an art style. It's already right there. You already have it when you're 4 years old and 5 years old. You just have to point at it and convince the world that it is in fact an art style. That's it. The 16-year-old that gets thousands of likes, way more likes than you, doesn't have better art. It doesn't have a better art style. They're just better at communicating than you. The reality is that you are not only going to develop an art style, any art style, as many art styles as you want if you develop your communication skills. No, you will also improve the inner dialogue of your mind. Now, the inner dialogue of your mind is where everything stands or falls. All thinking in your life happens through the inner dialogue. You think in language, and so what happens if you improve language? You improve your thinking. And what happens if you improve your thinking? You solve all the problems in your life. All of the problems are thinking problems and execution problems. If you improve your thinking, suddenly solving obesity becomes very easy for you. You identify the problems and then you just solve them and execute on it. Suddenly, solving the financial issues that you have become extremely easy for you. You identify the problems, you analyze better than you are capable of analyzing today. And then you just execute on the analysis, execute on the steps, and you win. You solve all of your relationship problems because you're suddenly better at analyzing what the essence of the problem actually is. And then you are able to execute on that essence. And voila, you solve your relationship problems. It's all a language problem. Everything in the world is a language problem. Everything in the world is made up. All of the money is literally made up numbers. It's a bunch of numbers that are made up. All of the jobs, they are made up. All of the artworks, they are made up. All of the art styles, they are made up. Everything that people believe in is made up. Pessimism was made up by an artist. At first, there was no pessimism. Pessimism didn't exist. And then Shakespeare came along and put an actor on a stage and made the actor slightly pessimistic. And then suddenly people loved it. Whoa, loved it. And they started imitating pessimism. They started imitating this actor, this idea of pessimism. And pessimism was born. There was no nihilism until the philosophers came along and created nihilism. Everything is made up. Everything is a language problem. The emotions that you feel, everything. Yesterday, a couple of days ago, I wrote this in my diary. I wrote this in my journal. Some babies die. The reason those babies die is because their communication skills suck. The babies that don't die have the ability to convince people to give them nutrition and shelter. They are negotiators. They are better at explaining why they shouldn't die than other babies. Communication is the first survival skill. The funny thing is that this remains to be true for the rest of their lives. Those who are good at communication get all the girls, get all the money, get all the freedom. Everything has always been about communication. And so how are you going to improve your communication skills? How are you going to train yourself so that you can develop an unlimited amount of art styles in your life? Let me give you a 4-step process, the easiest process ever. 10 minutes. This will take you 10 minutes, no more nor less. 10 minutes. Step 1. Let's say I would throw you right now in front of 100 people and you have to give a presentation. What is something that you could give a presentation on without preparation right now for 100 people for 10 minutes? Take the answer in your mind, okay? As you are thinking about the answer, let's go to step 2. Step 2, you take out your phone, okay? You have to take out your phone right now. Don't be that person that watches this video passively in a train or watches this video while you are eating. Stop eating and take out your phone right now, okay? As you are holding the phone in your hand, we go to step 3. Grab an object, grab a book, grab something else, a camera, it doesn't really matter, something that has a weight, that is heavy, like for example a light. You can grab whatever you want. Your favorite object. And then we go to step 4. This is the final step. Take your phone. Place the phone against that object. Press record. Record what you told you could give a presentation on in step 1. And then after the recording is done, without editing, just upload it to YouTube. Congratulations! Yay! You just made sure that you are using the best tool ever developed in the history of humanity to train your communication skills. Not only are you going to get access to CTR, click-through rates on your topics, you are also going to get audience retention graphs. Tools that Oscar Wilde would have died for. Audience retention graphs. Knowing when your audience stops watching is unbelievable. These are tools better than any other tool ever developed in the history of humanity to train your communication skills. Unbelievable. And so what are you going to do on YouTube? You are not going to try and get millions of views. You are going to try and train your communication skills, because that's what everything will stand on or fall on. Now let's say that you, for some strange, impossible, unbelievable reason, would disagree with this video, and you actually believe in colors and shapes and compositions and perspectives and all of that art, historian bullshit, and you want to find your art style the regular way. I've made a video about that. It's called Find Your Art Style Doing Only One Thing. Link in the description and the end screen. That said, get the hell out of here.